Hey everybody and welcome to Chairman of the Board. Today I'm talking about Fantasy Realms, which is a pretty small, almost like set collection card game. I think it's by WizKids. So this is basically a game where you have a hand of cards and you're trying to get the best combination of points on those cards because all the cards interact with each other in weird and wonderful ways and you're trying to get the most points by having the best hand. So the way the game plays, I think it's up to 5 or 6 players. It takes about 20 minutes to play, and the actual scoring of the game takes longer than the actual playing of the game itself because, as I said, the combos are really vast and really quite, interactive. So there's a bit to work out when it comes to scoring. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your hand of 7 cards, and all you do on your turn is you draw a card and you discard a card. And as you're going along, you are basically putting all your discarded cards into like the middle kind of pool area. And then when other players come to drawing their card, they can either take it from the face down deck or they can take it from the middle area. So obviously as you're giving stuff away, you might be giving stuff away that is very useful to other players. I really like the kind of mental arithmetic or the maths that go into working out which card is the best to discard right now, which ones I can potentially get back from the middle, because there's always a time where you have your ideal set of cards, but you just want to, instead you want to keep hold of them, but you are forced to actually discard a card and draw a card, or vice versa, draw a card and then discard a card. So it's really interesting as you're trying to, making sure when that comes to that point that you're not discarding or not getting rid of more points than you want to. And I really like that. The way that the cards interact is really, really interesting. As I said, like some cards might say, this card is worth 15 points, but if you have this card with another card, it's worth 100 points. Or you might get points for a certain run of cards. Or, it's all about comboing the right cards with another. And so the theme is a very generic fantasy theme. As generic as it can get. You got your dwarves, your elves, your weapons, your bows, your princesses and kings and stuff like that. But it does work quite well because as you can, as you're playing it, you can see why the points go well with another, such as like, a wizard might get more points if you get the wizard staff with it and stuff like that. So it's pretty intuitive, and you know what you kind of want. I love the way that the cards just have like a basic kind of points value on its own, but then it also has like a power bonus as well. So weighing up the two is important. Also, some of the cards kind of blank other cards, which means like it will say like, say you had this card that's particularly powerful. It will say this card's worth 100 points, but it will blank all cards of a certain suit. So that'll make all the other cards worth nothing. But then you've got cards that will say this cancels blanks on certain cards. So as you can imagine, the mental balancing or the mental kind of working out on what is actually getting points and what isn't getting points is a bit troubling at times, but in a good way. You're racking your brains out which ones you want to get rid of, what's worth the most, and so on. There seems to be loads of different things you can go for, loads of different routes. It's really well balanced, just a small deck of cards. I think it's about 100 cards. And just the way it's all balanced together is really, really nice. The decisions can be agonizing at times as you're trying to, as I said, not get rid of the cards you want, or you're really desperately seeking cards that someone else has got. You're hoping that they discard it. Really interesting. Takes a really quick amount of time to play, only about, as I said, about 10 minutes playing the game, if that, and then another 10 minutes working out the scores. Which is interesting as well because you want to see, as you're working out the points, that's part of the fun, isn't it? In a game like this. Replayability wise, really interesting. Not tons of replayability because you're doing the same thing, but again, all the cards aren't going to come out, so you're going to have to work with what you've got each time and maybe see different cards that you don't always see. Player interaction. As I said, I like it because you might need stuff that other people want. You're discarding stuff. You've got to be careful about what you do discard because people might be really wanting those cards. So yeah, lots to think about there as well. Card quality is absolutely fine. No complaints at all, but the card kind of artwork and that, while it's not bad, it's very, very average. I said cut and paste fantasy, nothing really kind of interesting to hook you there. It's not very dynamic art. It's not very, it doesn't jump off the page, but it's perfectly pleasant, almost like, your basic kind of style cartoon art, but it's absolutely fine. And as I said, the theme as well, so generic, but I like fantasy and it works quite well. I'd rather have fantasy than like a sci-fi or something like that. So yeah, no real complaints there at all. And setup time is an absolute breeze. Just shuffle the deck, deal 7 cards each, and you're good to go. And it's also nice as well because the rules are all explained on the cards. So, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of time, you know, explaining how the game works because, as I said, it's all written in front of you. The only thing you have to kind of explain is how the blanking works, you know, when you blank out other cards. But no real issue there at all. Overall, this is a game that really is a bit of a surprise. I mean, I really do enjoy it. It's a good game. And it's one of those games that kind of come out of nowhere. You'd look at it and you'd think it's so generic. The name itself, Fantasy Realms, the look of it, the box art is very, very drab. It's fine, but it's just, as I said, it just doesn't jump off the page. But yeah, it's a really solid game, one that I really do enjoy. I think it's a good filler. It's a very unique filler. There's not really anything else quite like it out there. And I would recommend it for a filler game, yeah. So it's going to get a good verdict for me. It's a good game. One that I'd recommend. And if you like your filler games, if you like your quick filler games, you like card games, this is one definitely to check out. That's Fantasy Realms. So if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.